creativity and self-expression is a byproduct of courage. So I'm always kind of like working on my courage muscle first, because that fuels and rewards me so handsomely in all the other areas of my like self-expressionism.
Well, hey there, and welcome back to the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. I'm your host, Sam Hind, and in this episode, I have got a very special little gift for you wrapped up in an incredible, incredible guest. A few years ago, while heavily pregnant and speaking at an event in Arizona, I met the incredible Judi Holler. She absolutely took everyone away at the event that she spoke at. She rocked up on stage dressed in full sequin with disco balls in her hands, and she had us all sitting on the edge of our seats from the moment she stepped out there. Well, in that moment, I knew that at some point I was going to have to get Judi onto this podcast, because not only is she a speaker and an author, but she also identifies as a self-expressionist. Now, I'm going to tell you much more about that because she's going to explain what that means in this incredible interview. But here's the thing. If you've ever felt a little afraid of stepping out of your comfort zone, if you've ever wondered if you've got what it takes, if you've ever wondered, who am I anymore in this world where I feel like we have to constantly be more like other people and less like ourselves, then this, my friend, is the episode for you. Judi is an unbelievable human being who shares genuinely who she is, the journey she's been on, in order to inspire others to search for who they truly are and unashamedly show up as themselves. She's also just released her second book, Holler at Your Dreams. You are going to love this. She tells you all about the book and how it is formulated and how it is designed to help you during this interview. I know that you're going to want to race out and grab a copy for yourself. She will have you so inspired. But this incredible woman is so full of energy. I know you're going to love this interview. I absolutely loved every minute of this conversation. So I sure hope you enjoyed as much as I did. So I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to hand over to the incredible Judi Holler and let her inspire you to show up unashamedly as your incredible true self. Enjoy the episode. Well, hey there, and welcome back to the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. I'm your host, Sam Hind, and welcome on in, Judi. It is so great to have you with us today. I'm super excited for this conversation.
My favorite Aussie, and Sam, I have to tell you, I don't know if I've told you this when I first met you, but you have my favorite name. So I always wished I was born a Samantha.
Really?
I wanted to be Sam. Like, okay, so here's something you need to know. So much so that for many years when I first started my business, I had like the fake assistant who, and if you're not doing this, by the way, in business, steal this tip. It's a great tip. So for the beginning years before I actually had like, you know, an OBM and a little executive assistant support in my business, I was that because I needed a space between me and like these contract negotiations. So it was like, oh, you want $5,000 off, or you want to have her stay for the reception. Let's pull in my assistant. My assistant, Sam, will be in touch with the logistics and the details. So it was Sam at judiholler.com. And
it was you.
Was my alter ego, but she did all the hardball negotiating.
I love that so much.
Fees. And everybody's like, oh my God, we love working with Sam, your team. She is incredible. I'm like, thank you so much. It was me. But literally, so I got to live out this dream, but also low key steal that idea because it really just elevated me. It helped me. I came from hotel sales and marketing, so I was comfortable selling, but it just created this sort of like elegant buffer between me and the clients who were trying to negotiate contracts with me, you know, and like confirm my tech check and like, you know, get my flight information. But I, at the time, couldn't afford an assistant. So it was me and I was Sam, and I just had to tell you, but you have my favorite name.
Mm-hmm. I love that so much. Okay, I am 100% going to steal that, but don't tell anyone. We won't talk about that publicly or anything. That's brilliant. That is the
Yeah.
best thing I've heard in such a long time. So,
It's real. It's just real. It's like, there's things you have to do. Everybody's like, fake it till you make it. I'm like, no, let's just make it till we make it. Let's just be
let's
real
make
about
it till we make it. So
like
good.
how hard it is to be in business and just to really find your way in it. And I think you got to get scrappy. And I think it's Simon Sinek that says all innovation comes from the struggle. So when you don't have something and your back is against the wall, Sam, this, like you have no choice but to innovate and to really think hard about how to get yourself out of whatever proverbial mess you may find yourself in. And so that was one of the things I did. And I wrote about it in my first book too. I'm like, steal this idea. But yeah. So innovation comes from struggle, really.
Amazing. Look, Judi, you and I have had the honor and privilege of meeting in person, and I'm so excited for this conversation today because for me, one of the things that I'm constantly trying to speak into and breathe into business owners is that the word that's going to come out a lot today, which is self-expression, being yourself. You are a speaker, you're an author, and you are a self-expressionist. I love that title. Can you just tell me what that means? What is a self-expressionist?
Yeah, a self-expressionist is someone who uses soul and intuition as primary brain. It's this sort of soul-driven self-leadership philosophy built for the future of work. And so here's why that matters now more than ever. I think so many of us, myself included, they always say, you want to know what anybody you love reading worries about, like all those people you look, like I think of all the people like who write books that I love, that I follow and all this stuff. Somebody once said, if you want to know what keeps any author you read or follow up at night, go read what they write about. So like I am a student of my own work, and I started I invented the art of self-expressionism because I had lost myself. I got to a place where the algorithm had gotten louder than the rhythm of my own soul. And I needed to hear her again. I needed to understand what my point of view was, what my perspective was, what I valued, what I believed. Like, what were those things that like were making me original and different than everybody else out there doing exactly what I do. And so I sort of built out this model to help me find my way back home, because I do believe so many of us get stuck in the scroll, and so many of us are there's so much coming at us at almost an unhealthy rate that it can get really easy to go, well, is this mine or is this somebody else's? Or wait, if everybody's doing this, shouldn't I be doing that too? Wait, hold on. Everybody's got a course. I should have a course. Or, oh my God, everybody's really into TikTok. Should I be on TikTok? Oh my God. Wait, no. Maybe I should be speaking. Everybody's speaking. Shouldn't I be speaking? Wait, no,
everyone's
I need a
miming
book.
to the trending audios on Reels. Yeah.
Wait, should I use that trending audio? Right. And so, but if it's not trending in your soul, if it's not really for you, it won't stay with you. And you won't want to stay with it. And that's what I've learned over the last 5 years. And so, it's all about source, soul, intuition over brain. Brain is important. Brain keeps us safe. But brain is pulling, and that's its job. Its primary job is to literally keep you alive. The brain's job is survival. But what the brain's going to do, the big, beautiful brain of yours, I'm not hating on it. It's important. But what it's going to do is it's going to use past data to help you make decisions today. So it's like this internal risk manager, Sam, like where your brain will go, you tried that before and it didn't work. So can we never do that again? Or the last time you wore that outfit on stage and, you got looks as you walked from the lobby to the ballroom. Can we just let's just wear the black suit? Or, you know what, the last time you spoke up in that meeting and you really, were funny or were that playful version of yourself and everybody stared at you and you caught people kind of snirking about you. And like, let's put that girl back in the box. And so your brain is going to do everything it can to keep you safe, but it's always pulling you into the past to do that. Whereas soul knows where you want to go. Soul's
Mm-hmm.
job is to sort of walk you out onto the ledge, to get you out of the comfort zone, because soul can see what you can't. And it's a feeling. And so I'm really excited about guiding people back home to themselves so they can start to understand what it feels like to hear themselves,
Yes.
so we can figure out what
Yeah.
real is for us.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. Oh my gosh. I'm loving this so much. And I know our listeners need to hear this because, particularly, look, we've got guys and girls that tune in here. We've got people from all different walks of life in all different countries, in all different types of businesses. But at the end of the day, the courage to be yourself is probably one of the hardest things you can ever have. What did that, like, you're all about turning fear into fuel, and we're going to talk about your amazing new book very, very shortly. But what was your trend? I mean, when you and I first met, I remember you got up on that stage and there were disco balls involved. Like, it was, I was like, who is this person? You were
Sequin
bright, you
suits
were
and disco
bold.
balls.
What was that?
Sequin suits and disco balls. I went
Yes.
through a phase.
Yeah, it was, but you were memorable, and that's the thing, and you were unashamedly yourself, and that for me stood out. I have remembered you ever since that day, and I thought one day
Wow.
I got to connect with that girl when it's the right time. And I've been watching you on social media evolve, and
Thank you.
it has been such a beautiful transition to watch over these last. It must be 3 years because I was quite heavily pregnant at the time. We're in
For sure.
Arizona, speaking at
3
the
years.
same event. And, here I was in my black suit, of course, pregnant, and you get up
Looking
in
gorgeous. Yes.
glitter and disco balls and colors. And what was that moment for you that you just went, it's time for me to be me? Was there a pivotal moment where you just went, this has to change?
Yeah. There's this interesting place you get to in life where if you're on the pursuit of something for yourself, whether it's a level of success
Mm-hmm.
or an achievement or an accolade or just growth. Like, I think there's so many, someone asked me, I went to dinner with someone and she's like, so Judi, she asked me the question, she goes, do you feel like you've made it? And I was like, what a question to ask. Like,
It's a
and I
full-on
guess,
question.
yeah, and then a good question. She's like Vanessa Van Edwards. I don't know if you know her. She's one of my favorite people. She asks the best questions, and she's like, "Do you feel like you've made it?" And I was like, "Yo, what a good question!" Because like on paper, and this will be my answer to your question. Because on paper, I guess it could look like that, right? Like I've stood on big stages. I've gotten to speak with some very spectacular, air quotes, industry speakery famous people. I've won some big awards. I've,
Mhm.
built a 7-figure business. I've written a book, now have my second book. I've won award. Like, so on, on paper, it probably looks like I've made it, but like
Yeah.
inside, I don't know if I ever want to make it because I feel like
Yeah.
in the sense of I always want to sort of be in this relentless pursuit of
Mhm.
like growth and
Yep.
change and reinvention. And I think that's the whole point. Like
Yep.
someone slid into my DMs the other day, Sam, and he goes, you've changed. And he did not say it out of care. He said it like out of critique. And I was like, thank you.
Good.
Like,
I'm glad
I
to hear that.
have. And I hope the same for you, my friend. And so to
Yeah.
answer your question, I had gotten to this point where I had built a pretty good tolerance for pain. Like I am a professionally trained improviser. I studied improv theater at Second City in Chicago. So as a keynote speaker, I use that work on stage in my keynotes, and it's really shaped my life philosophy and my business philosophy. And one of the things about improv is that you learn how to really quick get comfortable in discomfort. So
Mhm.
when I play with disco balls and I played with sequin and I would try all these funky things on stage and I'd, make right turns on my keynotes, or I'd, do something new with my hair or try my makeup away or whatever it is that I was like grabbing for. I was able to do that with confidence and courage because I had have built a tolerance for pain. Like, I'm one of the biggest fraidy cats you'll ever meet, but it also makes me qualified to write about fear because I face it
Yeah,
every day.
you
Like,
get it.
you can't be a girl that writes about courage and facing fear and come out onto stage in like jeans and a t-shirt. Like, I
Yeah.
have to like walk the talk, right? Like, I
Yeah.
have to push the envelope a little bit. But I'd gotten to this place where I was making big swings and taking big risks. And all of a sudden, Sam, I had achieved this like level of air quotes proverbial success, right? Like my first book had just come out. I was busier than I had ever been. I was, very, I was on a lot of stages. My keynote speaking business was really active and a lot was happening. And all of a sudden, and I write about this in my next book, the money grabbers started coming around. Okay. And these are people who see your success. They see a level of success that you've achieved, and they got the thing that's going to take you to the next level, right? If you just sign with me, if you just work with me, if you just follow me, if you just do the course, if you just take this 5 seconds to famous framework that we've created, you're good. This is what everybody's doing that's gotten to the next level. And then all of a sudden I got like really confused, and I was like, whoa, the girl that built this, like all of a sudden couldn't hear herself anymore. And so I started writing checks to all of these people outside of me that weren't me to try and fix me or scale me or get me to the next level. And while all of these people were getting rich off of my insecurities, I was like going soul bankrupt. So the girl that was with sequin and disco balls and the Judi you met at that time 3 years ago was on a journey of rediscovery because the money grabbers were everywhere and I couldn't hear myself anymore. And I was like literally proverbial, like business going broke because I was writing more checks than I was cashing, but I was also like soul going broke and I was just trying to find her. And so thank God for the courage. Like, thank God for the improv training. Thank God for the ability to be comfortable and uncomfortable at the same time in my own skin, because it was that journey over the last 3 years of just trying new things and pulling different levels and levers inside of myself and outside of myself that just sort of helped me listen and hear and have the courage and strength to say, oh, this is mine and this isn't mine. Oh, this is mine and this isn't mine, And while I love disco balls, I will always love a disco ball. That wasn't necessarily for me. And I love sequin and I'll always love sequin, but that wasn't really for me. Right. And so, yeah, I had to like go on a journey to like find her because I think I just got to a place where the outside external voices were way too loud that I started to lose my own. And I think that's the essence of the work I'm now doing on stage. But I think I've always had a bit of a tolerance for pain. The improv helped me do that. And I'm just not afraid to look stupid. And I think that really has been one of my biggest superpowers in business. Like, I'm cool with the cringe,
Yeah. I love that. I'm cool with the cringe. That's the next book, right?
Cringe. I feel like cringe is the new currency, right? Like, so I'm cool with the cringe.
So say we've got someone listening right now who's going, okay, I'm feeling that. I feel like I've lost who I am. I've got so caught up in the world around me and all of these, I love how you talk about, people literally preying on your insecurities. That is the world that we live in. And social media makes that so difficult now because, every time you go to Instagram or Facebook, it's all of these targeted adverts and posts designed to pull on the very thing that you fear. I remember one of my first ever jobs after I moved out of door-to-door story we talk about a lot on this podcast. I moved actually into my first paid job where I actually earned a wage, and I was working for a gym. And I remember they had an exact script and process I had to follow. My job was to sign up memberships, and they used to say to me, "Okay, here's the deal, Sam. This is your script. This is what you've got to follow. Your one aim is to make them cry. Make them cry because the moment they cry, you've got them because they're feeling the insecurity around their body, and that's the moment where they're going to make a decision to sign up." So I was trained as a little 18-year-old girl to make these people, most of which, nearly all of which were older than me, by the way, and many of which were people who had, women who had just had children and were trying to get back in shape. My job was to make you feel so insecure about yourself that you cried in order to buy a gym membership. Now, naturally, I found a different way. I was like, I am not selling.
Yes, she did.
Based on doing it this way, and I actually became their top salesperson and ended up training all of their staff moving forward in a different method. But this, I realized from that point forward, is how much sales training and much marketing is created is to pull on insecurities and fears. So we are programmed as people to feel those fears. Like it's a focus, isn't it? And so when someone's listening to this podcast and they're listening to you talk and they're like, wow, yeah, like I spend more of my time focusing on what I'm afraid of than where I want to go. And I've totally lost myself and I don't know who I am anymore. And that soul that Judi's talking about, that all sounds great. And she figured it out for herself. But where do I start? How do I figure out who I am? What advice would you give them, or what strategies would you give them to start really getting to know themselves again?
I mean, this is such a beautiful question. Like, how? Sounds great, but how? How do I find what real is for me? How do I figure out who I be, right? Because we love to talk about leadership. We bring in all these fantastic leadership speakers. And, if something's wrong in our sales force, we're going to bring in the top experts and we're going to teach systems and strategies to fix the problem. But my philosophy is this: it does not matter how solid your system or strategy is. If it isn't for someone, it will not stay with them and they will not want to stay with it. And so if you don't know who you are, it's really hard to be who you are. And if you can't be who you are, how can you effectively lead yourself? So it's almost like we have to inverse it and start with like the human intrinsically first. And so in a world, to your point, that is feeling more fake by the minute, more fear-based by the minute, where we really don't know what real is, it feels like now's a pretty good time if you want to protect yourself from a lot of the predators out there trying to money grab you and confuse you and trick you, right? It feels like a really good time to know you. And so one of the first things someone can do, and this is like a really beautiful, juicy, well, I have two, but the first most juicy tactical one that you could do today is, and this is my favorite question to ask people at networking events, at cocktail parties. So if I'm ever sitting down next to you at dinner, I'm going to ask you this question. So be prepared. Do you have an answer to this question? And Sam, I'd love to know what the answer to your question is. But one of my favorite questions to ask people, because you will get the real human and not the corporate mask, is this question. So what inspires you? What's inspiring your work right now?
Yeah.
Because when I ask you what you do, when I ask you what's going on or where you from or how's the weather, this is safe small talk, and you get the safe small talk corporate Barbie mask. But when I look at you and I go, so what's inspiring your work right now? What inspires you? I find out who you are. What your soul is, what your bones are. So the first thing you could do if you don't have an answer to that question is go get your booty inspired by things and go figure out what actually inspires you. So for me, I have timeless things that have inspired me. You're going to see it all over my work. Gilda Radner, one of my biggest inspirations here in the States. She's one of our earliest, most iconic female comedians from Saturday Night Live. I mean, she inspires everything I do, from a female comedic and timing. She wasn't afraid to be awkward and cringy and quirky and weird. And she was just such a pioneer. The Boombox. I am so inspired by the Boombox. It is my muse. I mean, the Boombox is one of the most timeless, iconic pieces of culture, and it inspires graffiti art. I am so deeply inspired by graffiti art. Neon, big, bright, bold, pinks, chartreuses, very inspired by neon. So those are some old OG, like timeless things that have inspired me since I was a kid, right? But then I have new things, like some things come off the list. They're inspiring me for a moment, right? There are artists you listen to, music you get into, and they come in and they come out, right? Colors, you'll be like, "Ooh, I went through a sequin phase. Sequin came in and then she went out. Disco balls came in and then they kind of went out." Although disco balls still make an appearance in my life. I think they remind me, like all those shards of broken glass remind me that like when put together, we are one magical ball of light. So I think I'll always be inspired by a disco ball, but I've just left the Midwest for the desert. And every time I look at a cactus, like cactuses are big for me right now because cactuses, like they bloom in the desert, like actual flowers without water. So if a cactus can do that, what can I do? And maybe what am I not doing? So this now makes me a very interesting person, conversationalist. It inspires my slides and my keynotes and my social media. You see what I'm saying? So if you don't have an answer to the question, what inspires you? Ooh, now we have a fun homework we'll edit this for a clean take. Now we have a fun homework assignment because we can go get in the way of what inspires us. Maybe you open your iPhone up and you start a little list that says people, places, and things that inspire me, and just get a riff going. And then your second job, and this is the second part to my answer to the question, and I'm giving you time here because I want to know what inspires you. So I definitely want to know what inspires your work right now, or maybe you as a mom or a woman right now. But once you have that list, or just a list going, and maybe there's only 2 things on the list, and it's like my kids, or, the summer in the Midwest, whatever. Maybe it's a color, maybe it's music, maybe it's something you're cooking. Maybe you just went to Greece and you're like super inspired by Greece right now, like whatever. Okay. So once you have some ideas down on paper, or better yet, if you don't have a lot on your paper, one of the second things you can do immediately, and this is like required in the art of self-expressionism. And as a self-expressionist, baby, you have to court yourself. Like you have to go out, you have to court your creativity. You have to court your self-expression. Like Anne Lamott writes about it. No, Julia Cameron writes about it in The Artist's Way, where she takes herself on weekly creativity dates to summon like herself and to summon. So once a week, as long as I'm in town, this happens. It's like a mandatory meeting on my calendar. Where am I going this week? Am I going to sit in a hotel lobby and just sip a beautiful cappuccino and just, not in a stalker way, but maybe I'll bring like my laptop and watch people.
One of my favorite things to do.
And like go somewhere like glorious, like the most luxurious hotel, get dressed up. Right. And watch people. So that's a courting yourself. It's a creativity date. Because what could I catch from the inside? Maybe I'm going to go to a museum. Maybe I'm going to go flip through records. Maybe I'm going to go to an art store and play with spray paints. Like, maybe I'm just going to go sit in a park and practice poetry and work on a prompt and just like see what happens. And no one needs to know, but I know. And I'm channeling something for myself. So you see what I'm saying? So I think number one, what inspires you? And if you aren't inspired by anything, baby, go get yourself inspired by things, because that's going to give you point of view and perspective. And it's going to infuse your art and the way you sell, the way you show up on social, right? Like your point of view and your perspective is what makes you the original. So go be an original. And then number 2, go court that creativity. Go summon your self-expression by taking her out and being with her and getting like breaking your routine a little bit, like on purpose, going to eat dinner alone, like just sitting at a bar and having lunch by yourself, right? Going to a movie alone. Like all these things are uncomfortable, but they're magical. And they're just ways we can sort of start to summon the self-expression I think we deeply desire.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. And I love that, when you first asked the question, I think where my brain went and where a lot of people's brains will go is, why do I do what I do? And, what inspires you to do what you do? But you actually brought up a whole new world of ideas in that it can be things. Whoever thought that things could be part of the brand that I build and part of, who I am in business as well as personally. And I think that's a really important point, because we often see our business side of ourselves and our who we are side of ourselves as 2 separate entities, but they're actually very much the same. And what you've just said reiterates what I have been saying till I'm blue in the face, and that is people are not buying your business. They're not buying your products. They're not buying your brand. They're buying you. And until they care about you, they don't care about any of that other stuff. And yet so many of the people that I connect with, the students that I get to teach, the people that are, in my audiences are selling their product, they're selling their business, and they think that they don't matter. But in actual fact, no one gives 2 hoots about those things until you show up. And you can look at any leader out there, anyone in the business who is successful, anyone that you admire or aspire to be more like, look at them and look at what they do. They show up unashamedly as themselves. And so many of them are so incredibly unique and colorful, and it may not be colorful in the sense that they are disco bally and neon, but colorful in that they are just themselves and they don't care. And that's where I'd love, like, any listener, anyone who's tuned into this episode,
Yes.
that's where I'd love to see you get to, is to go, this is who I am, and you take it or leave it. I don't care, because I'm not going to change for you. This is me. You either love me or you hate me, but the people that love me will follow me. But when you're gray because you're just trying to be everyone to everything to everyone and liked by everyone, and believe me, and that's, you know, what my book is very much about, is this concept that we feel like we want to be liked all the time, and so we try to tap into, what do you want me to be today? What do you want me to be today? And you get pulled in all of these directions, and it's exhausting. And you end up really down and depressed, and so I just love the way that you make that as much about you know, being inspired by things as it is being inspired by
in your own life. In your own life, because it's yours. Like, you know, everything is borrowed from the universe. The creative act is an act, like, in cosmic, like, sort of curation with the universe at large. So every time I travel, I'm different. Every time I have a conversation with another human, I'm different. Every time I get in my car and am awake in my life, I'm different. Like, every time fashion is just an incredible way to express and to stay inspired and empowered. And so that is like your primary job, to go be inspired by your life. And people ask me all the time, and Sam, you may get this too, but, you know, as speakers, as authors, people are like, well, how do you write a good speech? And how do you make a book, an awesome book, and become a bestseller and all this stuff? I'm like, my answer was, and always will be, to that question, whether you're giving a speech, whether you're creating something for social media, whether you're selling, whether you're, you know, writing anything, anywhere, is you're like, go live an interesting life. Like, your perspective, your point of view, and your take on things is what, like, so go live an interesting life, a unique life. Go learn some things, go get knocked down, go fail, go get back up, go fall down again. And then tell me all about it. Tell me everything about it, because that is what's going to make you you. Because if boom boxes and graffiti and hot pink is mine, you might try that on. But if it's not yours, it won't stay with you, and you won't want to stay with it. And people are going to feel, you know how you can feel when someone's like, ooh, like, it just doesn't feel like theirs, because they're trying to, like, put themselves into a box that actually doesn't fit for them. So it's fun to, like, I've been inspired by things my whole career, and there's so many authors and people in fashion and music that have inspired my work. But our real job is to say, go be inspired by things, people, places, whatever it is. This isn't about a mission statement. This is about, like, a soul statement. This is like that soul GPS stuff, right? It's like, go be inspired by things. And then what's your twist on it? What's your take on it, right? Like, now on stage, Sam, I graffiti all my suits. So on stage, I'm speaking in my suits graffitied, which has been a dream of mine for years. And that's so Holler. That's so me, right? And so it's like, oh, I've been inspired by graffiti. So what if I were, you know, what if instead of disco balls or a hot pink suit, I do have graffiti hot pink suits, but what if I could take the message and become a walking billboard for what I'm about to say on stage in a way that is a little unexpected? And so, but that took me 4 years to figure that out. It was like playing with things. So yes, I love that you, like, brought it home so beautifully, because it's not about, I think, our knee-jerk reaction in business and in life is to say, oh, how do I give this structure? What inspires me? Let me give you my mission statement. Let me give you my 5 things that make me different. Right. But actually, we're looking for sometimes the smallest, the most beautiful thing that could be a color, something you ate, you know, a place you traveled. Like,
it doesn't have to be big, right?
It doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah. And that's the fun of it, because it gives you the permission to change and grow and constantly be reinventing and reimagining the way you are in this world. And that's the fun of it, right?
So good. Do you know, it makes me think of something that, you were talking about the things we get asked a lot. And, one of the things that it's not so much a question, but one of the statements people make that almost makes me internally kind of curl up into a ball inside is when they say, oh my gosh, Sam, you've written a book, you travel the world, you speak, you do all of this stuff, you run a business, you're a mum. Oh, how do you do it all? How do you do it? And it leaves me feeling frustrated because I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want you to look at what I do and think, oh, well, I just, she's over here doing this. She's better than me. I can't do that. And we're different and I'm incapable and Sam's got some superpower. Do you know the stupid thing about it is it's not hard. And you know why it's not hard? Because I literally follow my nose and do what I'm inspired by in the moment. And when you do what inspires you and gets you excited, it's easy. So I so badly wanted to write a book. I had to step into fear to do it. That's one thing, is that your inspiration won't be easy. It will often come with a sense of fear because it pushes the comfort zone.
Right.
But writing a book, once I got started, I want to talk about your book in a minute, Judi, but I actually wrote my book in 4 weeks. I've been writing it for 10 years, but when
Oh,
I actually said, that's
sat
it, I'm
down.
doing this, I sat down. It was 4 weeks from then to when I held it in my hand. And
Amazing, Sam.
people were like, oh my gosh, how'd you do that? I was like, do you know, it was the most fun thing I've done in 10 years
Oh, well,
because it
that's
was
how
the
you know
first
it's right.
time. Yeah, I sat down and went, I am going to let the creative me come back out.
Flow.
People say, how did you create that new training in a few days? I'm like, because I let my inspiration go. I got creative. I went out, I got out of my desk, out of my office. I went for a walk. I put some music on that gets me going. And I just thought about, what do I want to teach right now? What do I
Yeah.
think people want to hear? What do I feel like doing? And
Mm.
sometimes, it can be a distraction for sure to get super creative. And, you've got to sometimes have that business brain on as well. Otherwise, you're
Of
doing things
course.
that are,
Of course.
not making money. And, like
Yeah.
we see creatives do that all the time,
Yes.
right? There is a balance. But
Yeah.
when you do what inspires you, it won't feel hard. It might feel scary, but it
Right.
won't necessarily feel hard. And I just, being a mum, like mums out there, guys, yes, there are hard and scary moments, but there's never a day that you regret being a mum. And,
Mm.
you just do it. People go, oh my gosh, how do you be a mum? I don't think I could ever do that. Yes, you can, because when you are being you and you're stepping into what you love, it becomes easy. It becomes natural. It just flows. It
Yeah.
just happens.
Yeah.
And so don't compare yourself to other people. But I love so much what you represent, Judi. I love the message that
Thank
you're
you.
sharing. Just quickly, I want to pull on something that you talk about a lot. You talk about fear, and you talk about turning
Mm.
fear into fuel, and you've become an absolute pro at this. What, from your experience, what are like 1, 2, or 3 tips you could give for someone who's like, but how do I do that? What strategically can I do to turn something I'm really afraid of doing or trying or being,
Yeah.
and turning that into the fuel to move forward instead of being stuck where I'm at?
Yeah. I mean, I think number one, it begins with a reframe. I think one of the most powerful things that happened for me, my first book is called Fear is My Homeboy, which is ironic because I would not have my second book coming that has just come out, which we'll talk about. Holler at Your Dreams, which is my second book, would not exist if I did not understand how to make fear my homeboy, right? So it's like, you cannot holler at any dream if you are not brave, because it takes like so much courage. And I think
Yep.
one of the first things someone can do is just reframe it. I think
Yep.
one of the biggest problems we have in society with the word fear is the word fearless. To
Yep.
be frank. And I actually loathe that word because I think it's what messes so many of us up. Everybody's telling you, I mean, like fearless this and fearless books and fearless t-shirts and fearless bumper stickers and fearless movies and fearless podcasts. And I think the intention is right behind the word. What I think people are talking about is brave. But what it does is it sends like a dangerous signal out to the people taking in the word that
Yep.
if you feel any level of fear, something's wrong with you, because I'm supposed to be fearless, aren't I? And
Yep.
so if I feel some fear, like I'm a joke and I'm a
Yep.
fraud and I'm doing
Yep.
something wrong. And I'm actually kind of like in this camp of, yo, if you feel fear, congratulations. Welcome to the party.
Yeah.
It is like, let's go. That means you are doing it right. You are on the precipice. You're on the edge, right? Elizabeth Gilbert has a great book called Big Magic. And in it, she wrote this line and it just like changed everything for me. She goes, think about it. She hates the word fearless too. And she goes, the only fearless people I know are 5-year-olds and sociopaths. So no, like no, the goal isn't fearless.
Maybe also 12-year-olds. I feel
Maybe
like there's
some teenagers,
12-year-old boys.
Yeah. I had a few of those friends in
So
high
that's
school.
another podcast episode. We'll
That's
talk about
another
that later.
episode.
Yeah.
So no. So I think start there. Like number one, yay. If you're afraid, you're either being definitely protected because you're about to do something really dangerous and your brain is like, yo, nope. We're going to keep you safe here. Don't go down that alley. Don't eat that lettuce. Like, ooh, that burger smells weird. Like you're actually being protected. So trust that gut, trust that instinct, or you are on the precipice of change.
Yes,
so be
so
like,
good.
I'm on the path. So that like first things first, I celebrate it. I love it. It's ride or die. It's my best friend. That. And then I think number two, and this kind of goes back to what I was talking about self-expression. You've got to gamify it a little bit. So it has been my secret weapon with self-expression, with creativity and with courage. I date it daily. I am on the relentless pursuit of literally experimenting with my fear, experimenting with my self-expression, experimenting with my creativity every day. Keywords here, on purpose in order to build the muscle, because you will never be brave. Like it's a actual muscle. So like if you want to summon the courage it's going to take to fully self-express, to scale, to, start a business, to get married, to leave a crappy relationship, to make new friends, to move across, like anything you want to do in life, it's going to take courage and guts. So let's work that muscle. And so I'm always kind of saying playing with it. I think that's been the secret to my air quotes success over the years, is that I just play these like daily games with my fear, with my self-expression, with my creativity, but certainly with my courage, most importantly, always, because creativity and self-expression is a byproduct of courage. So I'm always kind of like working on my courage muscle first, because that fuels and rewards me so handsomely in all the other areas of my like self-expressionism. You know what I mean? So date it, like literally experiment with your fear every day on purpose. It'll change your life. Play those games and just, and do it publicly, do it for yourself. But we have this movement, Sam, on Instagram where I'm doing a self-expression Sunday. So I'm giving people a space. Like every Sunday we commit to an act of self-expression where we share our art. The art is us. So it's maybe you're sharing something you're doing, or a piece of art you made, or a clip of your talk, or a page of your book, or that you actually want to write a book, or you just show your face, or a conference you went to. But like, how do we build a movement around the beautiful pursuit of building courage? And again, creativity and self-expression will be a byproduct of that courage. So that's how someone can start those two things. Reframe it. If you're afraid, you're doing it right. And number two, play with it, court it daily, like literally get uncomfortable every day.
Step into it, right? Yeah.
Like literally.
So good. Now, your book, let's talk a bit about that, because you have just released your second book. Yes. Tell us what the book is. Tell us a little about it. Why this book? Why now? Why do people need to pick it up? Go. I want to hear all about it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, so it's a book called Holler at Your Dreams. And the subtitle is Dangerously Inspiring Ideas for the Wildly Dope Soul. So it's 365 original ideas divided into 4 sections. And there is poetry, there is pop art, there is graffiti, and there is personal development. So every page has a heartbeat and tells a story. It's 4 sections. So I've organized the content that way. And so we start with the pain, we move in from pain to peace, from peace to presence, and from presence to paradigm. And the 365 ideas are sort of stacked in those 4 buckets to really help people understand what it looks like to move through pain, to make peace with the pain, to find themselves in it and to rise up out of it and to shift into new dimensions for themselves. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to go through pain. Okay. I'm almost 50 years old. So I'm a woman. I've had some years. Okay. And let me tell you, you're going to move through pain in your life. You're going to find peace with it. You're going to heal it. You're going to find yourself. You're going to redefine yourself. You're going to feel like a boss and you're going to start flying into these new dimensions. And then you're going to get to those new levels and you're going to get smacked on your ass. And then you're going to be back in the pain. And then you're going to have to move from pain to peace. And then you're going to have to find yourself again. And then you're going to go to new levels. So this is like a long-term solution. This is like a long-term conversation about the lifelong pursuit of growth and change and reinvention. And I think the last thing I want to say about the book. So, yes, it's a book, but she's really kind of like an oracle. So like, one of my favorite things to do, Sam, and I knew this is when I wrote this book, I knew it's what I wanted to do. One of my favorite things to do, talk about being inspired by things. So guys, steal this idea too. And when you go buy my book, do it with my book. Cause that's why I made it to be used in this way. You can read it front to back, but you can also do this. But before I had this book and before I wrote Holler at Your Dreams, and when I was lacking inspiration or trying to be inspired by things, I would go to the books in my office. I have so many, all the books in my office are the books that have inspired me the most, right? And so I will say, okay, what do I need today? What do I need today? And I will take a book off my shelf and I will just ask a question. And I'm a very spiritual person. And so then I say, wherever my eyes land in this book is what I need today. So I would let where my eyes landed be either the thing I was going to expand upon in my newsletter or write about on social media or inspire my day or help me move through the conversation with the client. Like it was like the message for the day. And when I was sitting down to write about, think about the structure of Holler at Your Dreams. I had these 365 original ideas, poetry, art, graffiti, all this stuff. And I was like, well, and I was like, oh, what if I made that book? A book that had a heartbeat, a book that is meant to be kept on a nightstand or, literally next to your desk, next to your computer in your office to really guide you and remind you of the power you hold. And maybe, just maybe, she could hold the answer you didn't even know you needed at a time you maybe didn't even know you needed it, right? So this book is a bit of a creative companion, a bit of a mixtape from my soul to yours, and really a guide for you to come back home to yourself artistically, creatively, and really truly live and be a self-expressionist. And so that's Holler at Your Dreams, right?
So
It's about taking action in the face of fear and trusting yourself while you do it.
Amazing. So where can people get hold of Holler at Your Dreams?
Oh my gosh, anywhere books are sold. We'll put the universal link in the show notes. You can also always come to holleratyourdreams.com, that landing page. Or come hang out with me on Instagram. There'll be a little link in bio, as you know, link in bio to find out all the different ways to buy the book. But yeah, it's just wild. I don't know. I mean, Sam, you just put out a book, and I've got those new release butterflies where it's this thing that's been living in your heart and in your head and in your soul for so long privately is officially out in the world, and it's just a really exciting feeling. So it's fun to be talking about it.
I hear. Well, I'm so excited for you. Congratulations. I have no doubt that this will be a bestseller in no time. So thank you so much for, I guess, being obedient to being you. That's it's such a beautiful thing, when you do watch someone who is unashamedly being themselves. And I love that so much. You are such an inspiration. So thank you,
What a
Judi.
compliment.
I've got 4 quick fire questions, though, that I want to finish off on. These are my favorite questions of the whole podcast. So first one is this.
Okay.
What is your which one am I going to go with? I'm going to ask you your favorite book. So I know you've probably got lots, and that's okay. So there's no right or wrong here. Business, personal, whatever. But what right now is the book that most inspires you?
I will say this book changed my life when I read it probably over a decade ago. And I think I flip through its pages weekly, sometimes daily, but The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. I think it's my all-time favorite book. It's all about the resistance, which is fear. And I think without reading that book, I probably wouldn't have the career in life I do now. I think it changed my life that dramatically. So that's my all-time answer.
Brilliant. Well, that's definitely a new one on the list, and it's rare these days to
War
get
of
a new
Art.
one. So there you go, War of Art. So second question is, what's your favorite quote or your quote of the moment? Because if you're anything like me, you've got 100.
Yeah, I think it's got to be this is a tie, but I'm gonna quote. It's the lead quote on the final section in my book called "The Paradigm."
Yep.
And the lead quote, so you pull out a quote from someone else to like walk you into the chapter, okay? And so this is the quote I chose by my friend Ken Black, former creative director at Nike. He says, "When you change the rules, especially when no one else knows that you have, the world is yours."
Ooh, I love that. So good.
And that's where the paradigm goes. When you change the rules, when no one else knows you have, the world is yours. And that is at the inner essence of the courage it takes to be a self-expressionist, right? To know that, like if I did this thing and I rewrote the rules for myself, maybe, just maybe, it could not only work, but I could change the game for myself and my family and my future and beyond, right? So
good, so good. All right, third question. If you could have a superpower, any superpower, what would that be and why?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I for sure would want to fly. I would definitely want to fly. I would be like an angel up there.
I love
I'd be
the
like,
excitement just there as
I
you
would get
thought
right
about
to
that, your face.
Greece, Italy. I would just be like, I don't need to take a flight. I'm just like, where do I need to be tomorrow to heal my soul? I'm going to go to Bali for a minute. I'll be right back. Right. Like I would fly. I would fly in 5 seconds. Plus I'm afraid of heights. And I think to be able to like be fearlessly flying would be just like the coolest superpower to have.
So good. All right. Last question. My favorite question is this. If you could go back in time and say one thing to your past self, what would that be?
Trust yourself. Trust yourself.
Yeah.
It's going to work out way better than you could have ever dreamed. So just keep going. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming. I love that because I think so many of us, we've talked about this before on the podcast from a parenting perspective. When you have kids, you go and ask everyone for their advice. How do I change a nappy or a diaper? How do I bath them? How do I stop them crying? How do I get them to sleep? And the one thing that I learned as a mum, and I learned this too late down the track, was everything that naturally occurred to me in my gut that I knew was the right thing to do was the right thing to do. And I went through this really long road of asking people that were not me and trusting them over myself. And parenting, being in business, doing what I do, my friendships, my relationships, all of that would have been so much easier if I had learned to listen to myself first and trust that. And so I love that so much, Judi. I think that's an amazing place for us to wrap this up. But thank you so much for not just your knowledge and your wisdom, but for your inspiration and your energy and for sharing that with our listeners. I so appreciate you. And it's such an honor and a privilege that I've been able to connect with you both in person and now here. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been awesome. And it is an ongoing journey, no doubt about it. So when we get caught up in what other people think, the most powerful question you can ask yourself is, what do I think? And then let that be the way.
So good. Well, thank you again. And guys, go and grab a copy of not just the book she's just released, but both of the books. We'll put all of the information in the show notes so you guys can check out Judi. Go follow her on social media. She's so much fun. I love it. Every time I see a new post from you, I'm like, oh, what's she up to now? So thank you for being you. I really appreciate you. And you make it so much easier for me to be me. So thanks again, Judi. And thanks, of course, to our beautiful listeners for tuning in. We'll see you guys again next week. That's it from us. Bye for now.
Holla.
Thank you for joining us in this episode of the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. If you love listening and you found that this was helpful for your direct selling business, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also check out the recommended video that's popped up on your screen right here. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye for now.